let's just get straight into it. Y'all see the title. Um, I just want to make a video, like, just expressing my frustrations with the Cowboys front office. I mean, I've been, talking shit to some of my personal friends, Cowboys fans and all of that, but I just want to get this off my chest because it just seems so egregious. But the Cowboys front office is they've completely lost their minds, man. They are running this team off of just pure emotion. And when I say that, I'm talking about the football operations side of it. I'm not talking about the marketing and the franchise being worth $8 billion. We all know Jerry is a genius, a marketing genius at that. We know he knows how to make money. We know the Cowboys are the most valuable franchise out there. So, they ain't doing nothing wrong on that side of it. But I'm talking about the product that's put on the field, the roster, the football operation side of it. And it's a shame because I think Will McClay is great at, the personnel, side. But at the end of the day, he's not the general manager, so he doesn't have the final say. He can only give a recommendation. So, like I said, I don't want to spend time on the whole marketing thing and the money thing. I want to talk about, just purely the football operations. So, I mean, you already know what I'm talking about. This 2021 season, ended horribly. The Cowboys had a good regular season, 12-5. The defense, steadily exceeded expectations all year. The offense was the number one offense. They had their hiccups, but everybody was healthy going into the playoffs, and we just got bullied by the 49ers. So, I mean, that left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. So, at that point, when I think back to January and February and all of that, I was empathetic with the front office because I knew it was going to be a tough off season. We had everybody healthy, and high salaries and all of that. I understood. Okay, the team next season is going to be a different team. They're going to have to make some tough decisions. So I was empathetic at that point, and so we would get into March and the new league year and the free agency and all that. The Cowboys make three moves that we all know. Number one, Amari Cooper. And what left a bad taste in my mouth about that is they tried to make it seem like they blamed it on his salary, number one, because he was a $20 million receiver, but his numbers didn't match up to that. They tried to put the blame on that. And we all know Dak Prescott is a quarterback. He's not going to take too many chances. He's going to throw to the open receiver. And if everything's bottled up, he's just going to dump it off. So, Amari Cooper is not a diva receiver, so he's not going to demand the ball like a Dez Bryant or a Michael Irvin. So, to me, that's my opinion. And also, Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator, they didn't do a good enough job of forcing him the ball like some of the other teams do their star receivers. So, that's my opinion on why his numbers weren't not, I guess consistent with being a $20 million player. So I don't even think that was the issue, because as Jerry Jones, you're the owner, general manager, your offense coordinator and your quarterback. Jerry made it known he wasn't hiding the fact that he was pissed off with Amari Cooper about his vaccination status. He had to miss games because of it, and everybody thinks back to the Raiders game and the Chiefs game, and Jerry made it known he didn't hide the fact that he was pissed about it. So you you trade for Amari Cooper. First of all, you make it known to the league, worldwide, league-wide, that you wanted to get rid of Amari Cooper. So you lost all your leverage right there. Because at least if you're going to get rid of him and get something significant back, you gave up a first round for him. I know you weren't going to get a first rounder back, but what they got back was just ridiculous. They got a 5th round pick. And that's because he made it known. He put it out there off of his emotion, the theme of this video, that he was pissed at him for that. So, they had to get rid of him for peanuts. So that's the first move that was very distasteful to me as a fan. I remember in 2018 when they tried to do the whole receiver by committee thing, and they made a drastic trade to get Amari Cooper because they realized how dumb that was to try to do that. Dak was struggling. The offense was it was not pretty. And they traded for Amari Cooper mid-season, and they turned Dak's career around. I'm always love Cooper for that. Dak should always love him for that because it almost immediately turned, that season around, and kind of, it didn't end great, but he kind of turned it around and kind of revived Dak's career, helped him get paid, in my opinion. And you let him go for a 5th-round pick because you pissed about a vaccination status. It just don't, I mean, granted, I know it could be more behind the scenes, but it just doesn't look smart to me. Okay, the second move, Lyle Collins. They got rid of Lyle Collins. The reason that they put out there was Terrence Steele came in. He's an undrafted player, making 1/10 of Collins' salary, and he outplayed him. So they got rid of him. But we all know why Jerry was pissed, because of how he got suspended and he missed those games at the beginning of the season last year. And it was on some fluky stuff. The league was tripping. I guess, I think the story was that Collins, he either didn't show up to a drug test or something happened along those lines. He didn't actually fail a test. He just missed the test. Jerry was pissed because of that, and along with his salary, they decided to let him go. And we all know, offensive linemen, especially offensive tackles, are very hard to find. You either got to draft them high, you got to develop them, you got to trade for one, or get lucky in free agency. Like, they don't come a dime a dozen. So if you got a good tackle on your team, you keep them. If not for anything, let them be the swing tackle and let them be there for depth. So that was very distasteful for me. The third move, which isn't really a move at all, they lost Randy Gregory in free agency. Jerry Jones, he made it seem like it was a move that they made by letting him go, but he was a free agent. He had full choice. He had full capability of going wherever he wanted to go, And the Cowboys actually offered him a contract. It made it to mainstream social media. He offered him a contract, but the only reason why he's not a Cowboy right now is because his agent had ties to the Broncos. And his agent, bamboozled y'all and, influenced Randy to sign with the Broncos. Even if he didn't influence him, it still was Randy's decision to sign wherever he wanted to sign. But make no mistake, y'all wanted him on the team because y'all offered him a long-term deal. He just didn't take it, and he went to another team. So it's not nothing that you did, Jerry. They tried to put it out there that this specific clause or whatever. But we all know you was willing to take the clause off. But he wanted to sign with Denver, and that's what he did. So, I mean, it's very apparent to me that, they're having a selective memory about that. So, all right, the offseason is what it is. They didn't make any big, splashes to replace, what they lost. They got some good players in the draft. They got Tyler Smith and, Sam Williams and Jalen Tolbert. I hope those guys have promising careers, but I wasn't really super excited. I mean, I was excited about Sam Williams. I think Tolbert is going to have a big adjustment period, in the NFL, and So it was really nothing to write home about with the how the off season was going. And Jerry was quiet the whole time. You know, nobody. It was no press conferences or anything like that. So you fast forward to April. I follow all of the Cowboys coverage or whatever. So kept hearing, okay, there's an imminent announcement, a big deal is something big is about to happen with the Cowboys, and they're gonna announce it soon. And I'm like, okay, what could this be? Hopefully, it's football related. Hopefully, we got better as a football team. Nah, I don't know why they always. I don't know how I let them sucker me in every time. They make this huge announcement about a big deal with blockchain.com. Why? Just why? I already said I don't even want to talk about the value of the team and all of that. I mean, I understand why that's important to them to do that, but it was very distasteful to make that announcement like we just hadn't went through all of those brutal moves and brutal changes and devastating situations, with our roster. I'm like, who the hell gonna get excited about a deal that y'all made with blockchain.com but y'all? I mean, it made y'all money, yeah, of course, but the fans, we don't really give a damn about that. Like, how dare you? You know, we want to hear some news about what this team gonna be looking like. All right, so OTAs and minicamp happen. Still don't really hear nothing from the front office. So by this time, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to, you know, I'm gonna try to just look. I'm getting over it. Like I said, I was empathetic with the front office at first because of, you know, how the season ended and all of that and the decisions I had to make. So I'm, at this point, months then passed by. So I'm getting over the stuff that happened and looking forward to the new season. Excited about training camp. Training camp about to start. Lo and behold, this man opens up the press conference and wants to talk about, oh yeah, we made these moves for the players that's not here based on availability and not ability. Listen at this. I'm gonna just let y'all listen, and hear it for yourselves. But it really did piss me off.
So I want to be real clear about that. We've lost some key players. Those were totally our decision to make those. They weren't they were influenced. Here's what has happened. We've lost three really high-profile players. Those players were in the top 10 of our players that make the most money.
You look silly.
When you get in that spot, I can tell you, your standards go up. Your bar is higher. Your conduct is higher. Your attention to the team is higher, not just your own performance, but everything. When you have that kind of responsibility, which you do when you have that much of the financial pie. So what I'm trying to say is those decisions were made more about availability than ability. And they were made as to how you arrived at not being unavailable at times.
To be available now.
And so let me be real clear. We're in a sport, we're in football, where certainly your skill level and your ability to be a player is why you're even being considered as a player. But more important than anything, these decisions that I made, relative to top players not being here had everything to do with their availability and my concern about their availability. For instance, you could have the exact same player, and if you were paying him one thing, about 10 or 15% of what you're looking at paying him, then you can do that all day long, and you can have half-ass availability. When you're paying them about 10 or 15%. The day you're called upon to raise that up about 10 times, then all of a sudden you start questioning whether or not availability should be more in the mix, because those are resources, those dollars he's going to get that can help us win the games with other players.
Do they?
And that is a big thing, and that has everything to do with the decisions we made in free agency this year.
Everything.
And putting this team together. everything with the people involved.
Everything, huh?
Availability had everything to do with it. I'm not trying to talk in pig Latin. I'm trying to be straight. I don't want to demean any player. I love those players personally. But you have to have number one thing is how we win a football game if you're going to be in the top 10 of paid players, in
Blockchain.com
my
gonna
mind,
help us win the game.
for the team. Check I at the door. It's we when you go through the door. Let's see here.
So after hearing that, I'm just like, okay, you we were as a fan base, we were getting ready to move on and look forward to this season, and you just drug us all the way back through the mud, back March, February, all that, and now we got to relive that all over again. And you telling us that you running it off of emotions is all evident in that clip. You know, you talk about availability. Like I said, Amari Cooper's vaccination status. Um, uh, Lyle Collins, getting suspended. Randy Gregory, we already know, is valid when he talks about availability. But the thing is, how can you talk about availability with him and the moves that you made when you tried to sign him? You tried to sign him to a long-term deal. You gave him the same money that Denver was going to give him. I mean, you offered him the same money that Denver gave him. He chose to sign with Denver, not us. So you can't boast about that being a move that you made and the decision that you made because you wanted him here. He would have been here if he chose to sign here. So you just missed me with that. Like, let your, bring your ego down. Bring your ego down. Like you trying to get ahead of it because you know these were some bad moves. And so, okay, you bring James Washington in, free agent veteran receiver. I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. At least they're not trying to do this receiver by committee because we got Michael Gallup coming back off of injury, so you kind of protecting yourself. A couple days go by, James Washington hurt. Okay, all right. You might have weathered the Lyle Collins loss. Um, got through the full training camp in California, all of the practices with other teams. You get back to Frisco, Tyron Smith hurt, and now your offensive line depth is shit. It's trash. Um, Even if Terrence Steele was better than Lyle Collins, you still would have had you still would have felt better about your tackle situation with Lyle Collins still here. And like I said, I'm not even going to address the Randy Gregory thing again because it's not even a move they made. There's nothing we can really do about that. I mean, the defense looks good. I'm not even worried about the defense. We got a plethora of defensive linemen, so I ain't even going to address that. But another thing that you want to talk about, you came into this season without even having a kicker. We don't even have a kicker. You brought in an undrafted free agent. He lost his confidence. Um, you even have to you have to bring back Maher, however you say his name, Brett Maher. You brought him back. We all know how streaky he was. I mean, he had a big leg, but he was trash. With inside of 40, couldn't even make extra points. So we're going into this season literally without even having a proven kicker. I guess they're gonna settle with Maher, but it's just bad. So I was at that practice Wednesday where Tyron Smith got hurt. The offense didn't look pretty even before he got hurt. No passes going down the field. There was one pass that went down the field to Schultz. That was a good completion. But, Schultz might have 200 catches. I mean, I'm exaggerating this year because he might have 200 catches this year because the receivers are not really getting open. They're not catching the ball. CD is going. He's gonna get his, but I still don't know. Hopefully, he proves me wrong and proves that he's a number one receiver. But the offense didn't look pretty. Guess we just gonna have to win like the Ray Lewis Ravens. Just got to win like the Ray Lewis Ravens. Um, it's disheartening. I'm excited about the defense, but uh, it's just disheartening the fact that our team is being run off of emotion, and it completely backfired on them. They wanted to play hard and make these tough decisions and, move on from these players that have ability and not availability, like Jerry wants to say. But I mean, look at what you tried to replace it with, and they're not available either. So it's just like, and so one last punch to the gut. They have all of the hoopla at the store on first take, and Jerry's doubling down about the availability thing. Just like, man, he's gonna like really like double down on this. Then he had nerves enough to say, okay, we got some offensive players that just need to step up. Just like, okay. Well, I'm finally coming around to it, man. I was always the optimistic fan. I'm going to this season. I'm going into this season very pessimistic about it. I mean, like I said, hopefully I'm wrong because I'm gonna watch every minute of it. There's no way I can boycott the Cowboys and not watch. I'm gonna watch every moment. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be hurt when they lose, and I'm gonna be ecstatic when they win. But I just had to get this off of my chest. I mean, it's just so egregious. You know, uh, it's like most football teams. Like, you don't know what their front office is thinking. They make their moves in silence, and you know it's not to the forefront. But us as Cowboy fans, we have to deal with it. We have to deal with it. And man,